cheers it up. I've been in a debate with multiple members of the Michigan media today about how involved or not involved Sharon Moore was in the play calling last week, how involved or not involved Sharon Moore was this week. The bottom line is, last week the offense was handcuffed. Whether it was Sharon's decision, Chip's decision, a combined committee decision, the bottom line is this week we saw a very different offense in terms of the concepts that were used. There was, again, some play action. There was, again, some of that. But what we also saw was quarterback runs, both design quarterback runs and also the option for Bryce to take it and run, which he did do. So I don't know if the communication was, hey, Bryce, it's okay to run now. But he clearly has been told it's okay to run now, because he did it, and he had more than 100 yards on the ground with his legs to show that he had that ability, right? Haynes had a good game again, more than 100 yards on the ground, but we finally got to see the receivers start to blossom. Even Samaj Morgan had a career game with more than 69 yards, nice, and a touchdown. Right. So he did very well. I saw some good stuff from Channing Goodwin. I even saw some good stuff from friend of the program, Andrew Marsh. So from an offensive perspective, and we can hit, I definitely want to dive more into this offense because it's fascinating to me, the difference. But somebody who impressed me, TJ, on offense was Jake Garnera. Jake Garnera at right guard, I thought played really well. I thought that he held up well. He was creating those separation opportunities for the running backs. He held up well. I mean, was it perfect? No, but I actually really liked what he brought to the offensive line. And sometimes that's what happens. You find out who you have when other people, unfortunately, are taken out of the equation. Then you bring in talent. And I actually really liked what Garnera brought to the table. What did you kind of think about? O-line was something that we continued to harp on all the time, that we were really concerned with the O-line play. What did you see from that today, and just in general the offensive performance that Chip Lindsey executed?
Well, I mean, just let's hit on the offensive performance by Chip Lindsey, because that's really one of the more impressive things to me. I mean, I think, and I know there's some people who are like, well, was Chip Lindsey handcuffed in week 2 or week 1? I'll say I think there was influence from Sharon in week 1 and week 2. I think it's clear that there was some influence. There seemed to be a more reserved approach. It looked like today the boys just let it fly. The very first play of the game, Bryce takes a deep shot. I mean, Chip and Biff and them, they were like, fuck it, let's go for it. You know what I mean? And then, like, not only that, you could see the constant theme. Even at halftime, Biff Poggi says, Bryce Underwood, what do you say? He goes, fuck, what do you say? I mean, Michigan.
Superman?
No, it was Batman. That was the end of the
Batman,
game.
that's what it was.
Batman, which, by the way, could be his nickname. It could be his nickname. I'm just saying. I was thinking to myself, hey, should we start calling this dude Batman? But yeah, it might, I think we might have to start that, John. Even though we weren't the first to say it, I think we got to kind of just run with that. No, shit, where is it? I don't know. Fuck. Essentially, he said just play like free will, pretty much. I know I'm misquoting the shit out of it right now, but long story short, it appeared that Chip Lindsey and Biff were totally, all for letting Bryce play his game within the offense. And I think what was interesting too is you saw Bryce play within it, right? He didn't force any runs. There were a couple designed runs throughout the game, but a lot of it was just through improvising, right?
Yeah, all of his receivers were covered, so he saw a lane and went for it.
So I mean, and now regarding the offensive line, look, they did their job today, right? And now this is where I will agree, where we got rooted rotor here or whatever. I agree, it's Central Michigan, so to be determined. They did good today. Fair point that it's not the greatest talent. We know that. But they did their job. They kept Bryce clean. They allowed Bryce to do what he needed to do. I had no complaints. The running game looked good. There was open lanes. I mean, I think it's quite clear, guys, that Justice Haynes is RB1. I think it's quite clear. I think that debate is dead. I do think Jordan Marshall has a role. I think Jordan Marshall looks solid. I will say, though, I'm going to say some blasphemous shit right now.
Oh, boy.
I think Jasper Parker looks quicker than Jordan Marshall, and I'm concerned about the Jordan Marshall situation next year when Savion Hyder comes to town. You know what I mean? Because you got Jasper Parker, but we don't got to go down that road. We can talk about that in the offseason. I'm just saying Jasper Parker looked really quick, really fast, and he actually looks like a guy. But we'll see. We'll see. Jordan Marshall will have a role. I think he'll find his game. We'll figure it out. I just think with Haynes is definitely the RB1. Wide receivers, I think Samaj Morgan looks faster this year. I mean, I know there's been some debate on that, but I think Samaj looks faster. It's nice to see Hogan Hansen back. I mean, it looks like we have some weapons. Like, are these elite of elite weapons? No. But, I mean, between McCauley, Samaj Morgan, Hansen, and Marlon Klein, and then you got Haynes in the backfield, we have weapons, right? There's weapons. So, to an extent, right? I mean, are we talking like, do we got some like military grade AR? No, we don't. But we got, but hey, they could do, although I guess let's keep it moving. We don't got to talk about weapons. But point being is, considering all things considered.
Too soon.
Yeah. But too soon. But anyways, I mean the offense looks Nebraska's gonna be the next test. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be on the road. It's going to be against a team that I know Garrison would say at least has a pulse. We'll see, man. I mean, I think I'm excited about that. Defensively, I think there's a lot of bright spots defensively. I think
real quick before we get to defense, one more thing. I do want to just give a disclaimer. We understand that this was Central Michigan. I'm already getting cooked attempted cooking in the X by talking about some of the that I'm happy about some of the schemes that were called and some of the decisions that were made. I understand that Oklahoma probably has a top 5 line on both sides in the country. I also understand that the offensive concepts themselves were limited last week, right? Bryce was clearly told not to run because it was a completely different situation this week with his perceived freedom to run. He clearly felt like he could, right? The option was different this week. Some of the deep crosser, the kind of some of the deep concepts that we saw, we didn't see those last week, except a little bit here and there. So that's beyond just the fact that John, Oklahoma has a much better line.
What are they arguing with you about?
Basically, it's Central Michigan.
It is fucking Central Michigan, but it's who we played today. What do you want us to fucking do? Why we played Central boys? Nothing to see here. No, the reality is you know how many teams played against teams on the level of Central Michigan did not perform like we did today? Today's a great sign and a necessary game for a young player like Bryce Underwood to build confidence, to put confidence in this offense, to put confidence in these young players. There's a lot of value in today. Today's a great game for the program of Michigan, right? Now, we understand there's greater tests ahead, right? We understand the next step is going to be Nebraska. It is well understood. Now, if you look at the Oklahoma game, it's clear there was a different offensive strategy. And you may say, well, obviously it's Oklahoma. But, bro, it was a handicapped one arm behind our fucking back strategy. It was a terrible strategy. And it was clear, to John's point, they didn't want Bryce Underwood to run the freaking ball. And that's disgusting because it limited our offense. I mean, Bryce Underwood has the ability, and we saw today, obviously, over 300 yards today by him himself, to literally be a dual threat nightmare for these defenses. It is on the coaching staff to put him in that position to succeed. I will say, though, I need Bryce Underwood to slide. The very first run he took in the game, he decided to put a shoulder into somebody. Easy now, bro. Easy, okay? Take it freaking easy. Slide and go out of bounds. You want to do that shit, you do it in the Ohio State game, Big Ten championship, and the playoffs. That's it. No other game requires that type of, action, okay? Listen, today, when you lose a game like you did to Oklahoma, and we talked about on Tuesday, John, Michigan was going to try and take it out on somebody, and they did. So look, I am happy with today's performance. I am concerned about 2 areas on this team right now. It's the kicking and defensive line. Right now, I feel good about everything heading into Big Ten play. Everything else looks good to me. I will say this, though. Barham appears to be the biggest star on this defense, in my opinion. And the fact that he's the only one that's shining as much as he is, like you are constantly hearing his name, I need more from Houseman. Rayshawn Benny, I don't even know if he's on the team anymore. Is that dude even on the team anymore? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Houseman had 1 or 2 things where I saw him, but it really is the Barham show, and he plays with an intensity unknown to mankind, to borrow Jim Harbaugh's phrase, right? The enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Like if everyone on the team had the same intensity as Barham, this is a national championship team, in my opinion.
The other thing that's exciting for me is seeing the freshmen like Shamar Earls, Jordan Young, Elijah Dotson. I know Elijah loves Elijah Dotson, right? But there's a lot of there's Andrew Marsh. We got an Andrew Marsh sighting today. Jasper Parker looked nice. Ty Haywood. I know Moose was talking about Ty Haywood. I noticed that as well. I was like, oh, Ty Haywood's out there. I did see Jamar Browder out there, but they didn't really do much. They should have tried to get him a play. I think there's a lot to be excited about here. We are very aware it's Central Michigan, but you play who's on the schedule. And I don't want to fucking hear from any rivals who got cupcakes like Grambling State on the fuck. Didn't you guys just elect Julian Sayin president last week? Didn't that happen? Pretty sure it did. Didn't he have like 4 touchdowns or some shit? And he's like the greatest gift of God or some crazy shit. And then then people want to act like, oh, Central Michigan. Who gives a shit? That's your opponent today. Take your opponent out onto the next one. We got Nebraska next week. We'll handle it. And I'll tell you this right now. Breaking news. TJ thinks we're going to win against Nebraska. I think we're going to beat Nebraska. I don't care. I feel good about it.
With this level of execution and this level of play calling, I agree with you. Yeah. I think we have a good shot.
And look, we know we're going to get a similar approach next week because again, this is not to harp on Sherrone Moore because we're going to find out. We're going to find out when Sherrone comes back after week 4. Does this offense look a little different? And maybe this is good though. Like sometimes this is a real blessing in disguise because maybe Sherrone's looking at this differently than being on the sideline, right? He's seeing what's working. He's seeing what's what looks good from a different person. He had to watch this from a TV, guys. He watched this just like we did, right? Mm-hmm. So, unless they snuck him in a suite or something, I don't know. But
maybe Connor Stallions invited him to a.
Hey, that'd be a good time.
Yeah.
Fucking, at the end of the day, like I think this could be a blessing in disguise. I'm interested to see. I think Sherrone. All right, my final take, John.
Yeah.
Sherrone Moore needs to be a CEO of this team and allow your managers, allow your defensive, or allow your coordinators, right? Allow your coordinators to literally do their job. Let great leaders allow their people to do their job. That's what a real leader does. So that's what we need from Sherrone Moore. Allow Chip to be Chip, allow Wink to be Wink, and let's see what this team can do.
Yeah, and I do think that, people are pushing back on the idea. Like I understand that Sherrone Moore was involved in this week's game plan, and I understand that he wouldn't. That if Sherrone hadn't given his blessing to this, that it probably wouldn't have looked like this, right? Biff said the first half was a love letter to Sherrone. I would also say that I think that sometimes Sherrone's instincts are to be tight and conservative. And both things can be true at the same time, that maybe he blessed this that Bryce could run and some of these things, but at the same time, when back was up against the wall, tight, conservative, deciding to punt, running a 3rd and 6, doing a 3rd and 6 run play, and then not following up with a 4th down play. Some of that stuff was, you can't argue that was Sherrone, right? So there is clearly an instinct to be conservative. We saw it even in the 23 Penn State game, 30 straight runs in a row, right?
I guess
he does that.
Let me ask this question. Do we think it was Chip Lindsey who called a run on 3rd and 6, or do we think it was Sherrone Moore? I have a hard time believing Chip Lindsey gave that. It was his fucking idea. Yeah. I just have a hard time believing some of those play calls in that game against Oklahoma. What we saw today is what Chip Lindsey wants to do. We saw a little bit of this in New Mexico. And we also heard this week, guys, and you could say, well, that's 3D chess shit. Sherrone Moore literally said, well, eventually we will run Bryce, but you need 2 quarterbacks to do that.
Yeah, that was
so clear as day. They chose to not. So they chose to not run him against Oklahoma. That was a Sherrone call, guys. Now, whether or not they decided to evolve this week as collectively, it may be. But at the end of the day, Sherrone was not on the sideline to give Chip Lindsey any tips or advice. And let's just be real, too. Only the first 15 plays are scripted. So everything after that was Chip Lindsey was Chip Lindsey's like game plan, right? So I or his play calling. I mean, the game plan was collectively built, but I just feel. Listen, I do believe Sherrone Moore is a bit conservative. I do believe Sherrone Moore would rather run it up the A gap more than Chip Lindsey would. Okay. That said, I do believe Chip Lindsey had the biggest impact on today's play calls. That's where I'm at with it. And I don't care if it's Central fucking Michigan. You got to play somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's what it is, dude.
Yeah. I mean, people made fun of us about New Mexico. Well, New Mexico just throttled UCLA. And
Right.
Nico, I want $4 million to be a quarterback. But it went over to UCLA and has gone 0-3.
How's that decision going for him? How's his dad and uncle feeling about that one?
Absolutely wild stuff.
Terrible.
So,
Could be at Tennessee. Could be at Tennessee on a bigger stage and winning games. Instead, he went to UCLA to chase a bag, and now he's about to ruin his career. Anyways, we can move on. New topic.
Well, you started touching on the defense, and I think that it's tough to evaluate the defense a lot because, again, this really does go to quality of opponent there. But like you said, who's kind of emerging? Really, Barham, and then a little bit here and there from some others, right? Like Elijah Dotson had that interception. That was sweet, right? So, some others did do things. It's not like it was only Barham, but and clearly they kept Central Michigan to 3 points. So as a systematic unit, they mostly executed well.
So to me, that's what raises a concern. You played Central and you couldn't get consistent pressure. The only way you were getting pressure is blitzing a fucking linebacker, whether it be Barham or Bowles. Like, I'm not sure, listen, I just look at this as honest as I possibly can because I'm a fan of this team and I just want this team to reach its full potential. So I'm going to be aware of where I think there's weak points. To me, there is a pass rush weak point here that we are not generating with running 4. And the only way we are getting pressure, it appears to be blitzing Jair Hill, blitzing Bowles, or blitzing Barham.
Yeah, and Hill and Hillman had a really good, they stopped the first Central Michigan drive. So there was that too.
I'm gonna let you know right now, the fact that that's all we could get from Central Michigan, it's something to be aware of. I don't think it's nothing. I think it's actually a big something, to be honest with you.
Yeah, for sure. And then it looks like, listen, folks in the chat who are like, if you want to start we encourage people to start channels here. We love that. Right. Do your thing. Right. It just somebody saying, hey, the coach not being there had something, like, don't stop thinking that Sherrone not being there had something to do with this. But I think that, Chip Lindsey, I think, felt free to call his offense the way he wanted to call it.
I agree.
I don't think that's that outrageous.
Wait, are people? Let's go to war. Do people think that's crazy?
Yeah, there it is. Coach not being there. Yeah, and then gonna start his channel.
All right, Brandon. Did you watch the Oklahoma game? So we are going to be doing a call-in show, brother. Be sure to call in. Let's talk about it. Let's debate it. I'm not looking for confrontation. I'm looking for a debate. We could talk about it because I disagree.
Yeah, we will be taking calls. So definitely call in.
John, it's clear as day they put a handcuff on Bryce last week. Does anyone disagree with that?
It's clear he was told try not to run.
Yeah, not to run. And then Sherrone Moore makes a comment Monday about not running Bryce Underwood because we don't have 2 quarterbacks. Now, obviously, they decided, you know what, let him run, which they should. Anyone in their right mind should acknowledge this kid needs to be able to have his full range of weapon, right? He needs to have his full range of capabilities, right? But it was clear as day last week, and even against New Mexico, when they chose not to let him run, even New Mexico, John, even against New Mexico, They chose to not let him run.
Yeah, it really does kind of boggle my mind.
But John, now that Sharon's away, it's okay now. It's okay now. Sharon's okay with it because he's not on the sideline. It's all good. Hey, John, opening it up and throwing, what was it? Throwing, I got it right here. Shit, hold on. No, I don't have it. Where is it?
What are you looking for?
Right here. The team stats. Okay, so we threw it
235 passing yards.
235 yards. But you see all the downfield passing we did today?
Yeah.
You see all the shots Bryce was taking. Now, listen, Bryce does need he needs a little less air under that ball because those late shots are dangerous.
There were a couple.
A better team would have picked those up, but he'll learn.
They would.
Again, 17 just 1 month ago. 17 literally a month ago. So
by the way, I was totally fine with that first play of the game when he almost got a pick, because you know what? At least they're trying to move the ball downfield. And I actually was okay with that.
I agree.
Like, he was trying to get Goodwin, just things a little bit off, but I was happy they tried.
And if you're going to, why not take it Central Michigan? Why not take a shot like that in the beginning of the game? Not only that, the reason why they did that is because they wanted to show they have confidence in this offense, confidence in Bryce Underwood. That is the coaches instilling confidence in their players. That's what that play call was.
Yeah. So overall, before we get to super chats, I'm very pleased with how today went. I think we all needed it mentally after last week and everything going on in society. Just a nice curb stomp right here, where pretty much everything, with the exception of special teams, looked pretty good. Even because, remember, folks, I understand it's Central Michigan. Central Michigan has won a football game, by the way. Number two, when was the last time we looked like this against anybody?
Right. Great point, John. How many times? Well, John, how many times have we played an opponent like, even in Jim Harbaugh era, we would play an opponent like this, and it would be like a 34-10 game. This is like, I don't think people are appreciating. Yes, it's Central Michigan, but you did your fucking job on every level. This is a victory. This is something to enjoy. Now, look, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you did good, on to next week. Like, don't get me wrong. We're not, even though I'm drinking a brewski in my Michigan cup, even though we are having a little alcoholic beverages tonight, even though it's only 3:00, but it's nighttime in Japan. I bet
it's nighttime somewhere,
bro. But anyways, yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, we did our job. Bryce looked good. Like, that's another thing too, man. Every game, Bryce is going to get better. Every game, Bryce is going to get more comfortable. Every game, you're going to watch this kid grow. It's like, and I'm going to be real with you, John. And I know my like JJ tweet kind of blew up and went viral this week. We are literally watching two quarterbacks grow in front of our eyes. We're going to watch JJ mature and grow in the NFL. We're going to watch Bryce Underwood grow and mature in college, and it's going to be so fun to watch. So just enjoy it, man. Just enjoy it. Next week is Nebraska. That'll be the next test. And I'm going to tell you right now, for a lot of you, it still won't be good enough because it's Nebraska. But as the weeks go on, there will be bigger and better tests. We will play our next, I think the next big test is what, John? Let's look at
Nebraska. I consider Nebraska a test.
Yeah. But all right, at USC. So that'll be the one. So if we beat Nebraska, yes, we got Wisconsin. Wisconsin's Garbo. Yeah. At USC will be the one where that'll be the one where I think people, if we win that game and we win it decisively, then obviously people will be really confident. If we win that game, then I think it'll at least be you could be, oh, this team could be competing for something this year. They could be a playoff team if they win that game. So we will see.
Absolutely. So with that said, we've got our super chats coming in fast and furious. We are $25 away from a second hour. Who's going to be the one to put it over the top? Who's it going to be? I can't wait to hear. Why don't we start hitting super chats unless you have a final thought on the game?
My final thought is fuck Ohio.
Fuck Ohio, seconded. All right, I know Garrison's in here. I know Garrison's in there. All right, so Drufus. So I guess you. I'm wondering if TJ is going to call himself Socrates again. You had that one started, I guess.
Oh, bro, you should hear what I say to myself in the mirror, bro.
GT, my man. Only downside to this game is that the Zavada for Heisman campaign is over. You know, I'm with you there. I wanted Zavada to go all the way, win the Heisman, but it looks like maybe not.
Yeah,
but I still think he's a dog. I still think, look, even the best kickers get a little bit of the yip sometimes. I'm not casting him off. I think he's going to bounce back. He's probably going to have a couple of clutch kicks that win us some games. I have more of an issue with some of the other special teams. I think the punting hasn't been very good. Some of the punts, especially last week, were just like WTF. Some of the punt return, some of the just handling of the football, some of the so I think really JB Brown is somebody I'm going to start looking at a little bit more, like what might be going on there, because I'd say Zavada is far from the worst part of the special teams.
Well, Zavada's listen. I'm not concerned. Like I did say, concerned. He'll come around. I mean. I said there was two areas of concern, and the kicking game was one. I mean, I'm not concerned about Zavada though. I do believe Zavada will. He'll find his way. I mean, it's fucking Zavada, bro. It's just interesting to see the slow start or the inconsistent kicking. And I know it's got to be. I'll tell you right now, as a kicker, it's got to be so tough mentally because like this is his year to become an NFL kicker, and he's already bombed 2 kicks, and I mean bombed not in a good way. He missed them. We'll see, man. I mean, I have faith Zavada's going to get on path. I really do. I really do. I'll tell you this. If someone was like, "Oh, bet money if Zavada's going to become Zavada," I'd fucking put the money down. I believe Zavada will. Defensive line, though, that's where my only concern is at this current moment.
Yeah. I meant y'all last week. The punting. I know we didn't punt this week.
Yeah, John, we don't fucking punt. We got Bryce Underwood, bro.
Yeah, we got Batman. That's
you
right.
don't. Yeah, we got Batman. You don't need a punter when you have Batman and Chip Lindsey. Come on, bro. The fuck we doing?
I do want to announce that Bull has helped us unlock the second hour of the show. Unlocked, and we're going now for hour 3, and we might keep rolling, folks. It's a daytime show, so we might keep this thing rolling for a while if you guys want to keep it rolling. So Tom with the 5, thank you for that. And then Tom with another 5. I know he's not a lineman, but Bowles might be a dirtbag. Yeah, Bowles looks good.
I think Bowles is flashing. Yes, I think Bowles flashes. I think Bowles is looking like a dude. I think he's looking like a good player. I think I'll tell you now, another player who caught my eye is Anthony Simpson. I got to see Anthony Simpson on the field more. I think that kid flashes. I think Jasper Parker's got talent. I think Todd Bowles has talent. I think Elijah Dotson.
Simpson didn't really get a chance to show off much because we ran the ball when the backups were in.
Dude, Cole Sullivan is everywhere on special teams. Everywhere. Every tackle you see, he's there.
Yeah, Cole Sully, as I like to call it, Sully is looking good. I hope Nate Marshall's okay because I hope he recovers from whatever that injury is, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it. But like, yeah, you're seeing some people flash. Obviously, Barham is gonna he's destined for, I think, a career season this season. Like he really, I think, is trying to put enough film on tape for NFL to be a first, second round pick. But